the high value man is not necessarily linked to money. And then I think that's where you'd stop before we had
Well,
left.
it's the thing that gets under men's skin the most
Hmm.
because but we know it's a true. We know it's a truism. I am sorry, gentlemen. I didn't make the rules. I don't make the world. But Dr. Tiasan Johnson, who teaches Black Masculine Studies, University of California, Santa Barbara, he's talked about the very one or two courses in the United States. He's looking at 19 and 20-year-old women in the class sitting next to 19 and 20-year-old men. And these women are telling these young men that, yeah, I only want to deal with a dude making six figures or most. And these guys are realizing that I'm going to come out with a degree in accounting. I'm not going to crack that. Less than 13%, depending upon the number, 13 to 10% of the population makes that. But if you ask consistently whether they want to say it directly or indirectly, women traditionally want men to out earn them to be able to pay the major bills. What I've done is I've actually put a framework to allow women to actually say the truth.
Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book 91. We are talking to you guys about the Kevin Samuels ABBA Preach connection. They had a little live, it was about 2.5 hours live. We're just going to play probably about 5-10 minutes of it and just kind of break down what was said. I'm going to be very, very honest with you. Some of the stuff that Kevin Samuels says in here, I actually agree with. Yeah. Because a lot of the stuff that he actually spoke about, Red Pill community, what they speak about, I agree with a lot of what they say. They're just extra additives that I don't agree with. And for instance, delivery from Kevin Samuels, I don't agree with. Some of the ways that he speaks to women, I don't agree with. I don't agree with the red pill in terms of lying to women to get sex and stuff like that. When everything's about that, I don't agree with those parts, but I definitely agree with how attraction works. And I think that's something that I can take from them. I can take I can take some truth from what they're saying. Just like, if a false teacher was to talk, I could take some truth from what he was saying. I wouldn't listen to him, but I could take some truth if he ever spoke to me. Now, in this situation, they're going to talk about high value male and the six figure man. And I think it's a really good conversation to kind of listen into and, really understand that what I feel like our community needs here is clear, hard lines of what you're talking about. So let's make it very clear. Let's make it very clear. Before even Kevin Samuel said anything, before I even knew Red Pill existed, when I was younger, I was trying to define what are the characteristics or traits or things that men had who were my age group that made them more desirable towards women. And when I was looking at it, I was like, okay, certain men are getting gyal. Why? Okay, they're good looking. So attractiveness means if he's good looking, if he's a good looking guy, that's gonna attract women. They like the bad boys at the time when I was younger. Okay, what is it about bad boys? The confidence, the unpredictability, the fact that they're not corny, the fact that these guys are heralded and are lifted up onto a platform within the society. So the social proofing that goes on, that women, when they get with him, they seem more important. Okay, I saw that. And then I saw obviously as well the fact that, okay, the job that you have, the job that you have, the title of the job, the status of your job, you know what I'm saying? Or whether you're famous or whether you're well renowned in society or in a particular a group. Because remember, it really depends on the group that your status depends on. So if for you the nerd group, that's a nerd, I shouldn't say that's really bad. Let's say the comic book group, there's going to be the super cool comic person, right? Who's going to be a god within that group of settings. Now, other people who can, let's say Kevin Hart, he might be good looking to a lot. He might be highly desirable. And the key word is highly desirable. It's not about being just desirable. It's about being highly desirable. And I think that's what needs to be pushed more to make people understand. This is about being highly desirable. Not that you're not desirable, but being highly desirable. Why is it that the masses want that person? Why is it the masses, well, I don't know about men, but let's say, for instance, masses of men may want Beyonce. What is it that she does? What is it about her that makes you want her? You know what I'm saying? And so when we start breaking down the components of what makes her attractive or makes men want her, let's talk about that. 2, let's talk about the fact that oftentimes when we're describing these things, we're talking about attaining, not maintaining. So when Kevin Samuels is talking about what he's doing, he's talking about how to increase your attaining, not your maintaining. And that's where I think my issue comes in. But I have to try and understand that point of view, that not everyone is on the maintaining talk. They're on the attaining talk. They're not here for the longevity. Oftentimes they're here for the attaining, not the maintaining. But let's go back to what he was saying. Let's listen to what you're saying.
And more men are upset because the majority of men don't make that. The median income in the United States for men is $38,000.
Okay, so I like what.
And this is a big thing as well. So the median is $38,000 in USA. This is I think it's like 29,000 in UK. Okay, 29,000. So the mere fact that women want to have a man that is six figures, that's what makes the man highly desirable. He is one of 13 to 10%. That alone makes him desirable. That is the when someone's rare and unique, okay, that can make their value and stock go up simply because they are rare to find. They are rare to attain. And so their value can go up. So if a man is in the top 10% of earners, then he can become partly highly desirable. But again, it's highly desirable, but doesn't mean he's highly maintainable. Meaning that it doesn't mean that he's got the skills or the tools or the resources to maintain a relationship. But he has a tool or resource to attain women at a go. Let's continue the conversation going forward.
This conversation is going. I think when people hear you say high value and this is what women want, it almost to women sounds like you're. I know this is not what you're saying, but to women, the way they interpret it is that they're hearing, oh well, I'm going to be with a man who probably won't make that six figures or more, so therefore my man is not high value. And it's kind of a tough thing to accept if you look at your partner like they're the perfect person for you. It's like, no, these people.
And I think this is very important because it's the word high value that's a problem. It should be highly desirable. The man is highly desirable. He's not highly valuable. He's highly desirable. Because the value must not only be in the attaining, it should be in the maintaining. You see, if you can't maintain it, then how are you highly valuable? Do you understand? The reason why gold is so highly valuable is because of its properties and what it allows it to do. It's able to have a long maintenance period of time. It's very durable. Okay, all right. It's precious, it's rare, but it's highly durable. Diamonds are highly durable. If they were so perishable so quick, more than likely they wouldn't be highly valuable. Okay, they're highly desirable, but not valuable, because the valuable has to maintain and retain its value over time to make it valuable. Otherwise, it's highly desirable. And that's the key point where people are getting frustrated. It's the semantics of words, but the semantics of words makes it very difficult to hear a message. This is why if people are involved in communications, you must take time to communicate your message well. So if people don't understand, oftentimes I have to realize when I say a message and people don't fully understand, I got to take responsibility. I at least got to take some responsibility that they're not listening, maybe, but at the same point, maybe I haven't made it clear for them. Let's keep going.
People still have value, so I think that's where the disconnect is coming. Is what I'm making.
Okay, so I had a conversation with a young lady who lives in the Memphis area, and my video is up right now. And I think the title of it is something along the line that this happens too often with modern women, where they think about the men they want, but they don't really think about the practicality of it. Who is this man? What does he want from a woman? What kind of position is he going to need to hold to make the kind of money that I need to make, to kind of have the kind of lifestyle I want? And as I was getting into I was asked, because like you said, we had a conversation before. I'm a highly trained interviewer and a skilled salesperson. And I ask questions to reveal things to the person I'm talking to. And as I'm getting into it, she says something. I feel like this is all coming down to finances. I'm like, I'm just asking you questions about the things you say you want, but we don't want it to come down to money. We want it to come down to spirituality, and God's going to send me a husband. And if I'm a good man, guess what? There are no high value homeless men in a woman's mind. They may have value to a society, but in a dating and mating sense, not so much. See, this conversation has made a laser on what women mean about high value versus what men mean, because it's not just money. Because if money was the indicator, all you would need to make is money to keep her there. No, women queue on many different things. The high estimation of their network of friends, the network, the society, the vision. I mean, it's more things than just money. So what tends to happen is folks say, well, you don't have to make a lot of money to be high value. I know some high value men ain't worth nothing. Yeah, take that on the modern dating scene. That may be what you say, but try to go try to step to that 8, 9, or 10 that you think is an 8, 9, or 10, and everybody else thinks is an 8, 9, or 10, and try to tell her I'm on fries and tell her I'm making $35,000-$40,000 a year.
See, I agree with this. Again, I think semantics of words. To say that are they again? This is why I says the word highly value is a problem. It's a stumbling block. They are highly desirable. On a dating scene, that person is highly desirable, not valuable, desirable. Because the value has to be long lasting. He's desirable or she is desirable. There are traits in women that are highly desirable for men. If we say it like that, I think we clear a lot of the madness. It's the highly value issue that is causing people issue.
And see if she decides to exchange IGs with you.
Yeah, and I think the most important thing that people have to remember is that just because your partner is not necessarily high value does not mean that they're not special to you or not a wonderful partner or not a wonderful provider. The same way, just because your partner is not supremely attractive, it does not mean that you don't find them incredibly attractive or want to bone them every day. Right. When he uses this lingo, he's not talking about you within the confines of your relationship. He's talking about individuals within the greater construct that is a society. One can be great within a dynamic in a relationship and be the perfect partner for you and still not necessarily be a high value man, which I think is fine. I'm going to be a great husband to someone at some point someday, I hope. But that does not mean that I'm necessarily a high value man as a result. My wife might view me that way. No, it's not. That's the thing too. I want to touch on that.
That's what I ask women more often than anything else. Like the average events video. I said, I was like, what is wrong with an average man? That's the question I ask more often than anything.
I agree that. And again, I agree with Kevin Samuels here as well, because what is wrong with the average man? And this is where I said there is truth that women too sometimes do this, where they don't even realize their own thinking processes, which is what I spoke about in the Successful Women Are Arrogant video. I said, yeah, successful women are arrogant. They don't want to date down. And they consider down a finance thing. You are arrogant. You think that you're dating down simply because he doesn't have the finance level, and then you call it, and then the woman will say, oh, no, that's because we've worked so hard. No, it's arrogance. Call it what it is. It's that simple. You don't want to date down. It's a preference, but it's an arrogant preference. You don't want to date down. Okay, you don't want to date down, and you assume that him having finances lower than yours is not arrogant. It's arrogant. The same way when a man wants to date a woman and he says, I don't want a woman to be smarter than me or more intelligent than me or have more money than me, it's also arrogant too. So both sides are suffering with arrogance, but the truth of the matter very much is, yes, sometimes women do need to hear some truths. I agree that. I think the way that we're delivering these truths are very, very important, because women are not dumb. I think that's the point that I think as well. His delivery, Kevin Samuels' delivery, makes it as if women are dumb. They're highly intelligent women. They're highly intelligent beings. Just explain it to them. Do you understand? Just explain it to them. You can say it straight without being rude. You can say something straight without being rude. That's why we teach. You understand?
Yeah.
I had a young lady coming out of college. I'm like, why can't you just marry the local plumber? And she said, and instinctively, she said, no, this woman was getting a political science degree. She instinctively said no, because what she associated plumber with. Plumbers make some great money.
Right.
That's true.
The reality is my show has asked women to say what they want, and there's too much even anecdotal information to just think this is a coincidence.
But I think that's where the problem is, and that's where the disconnect is for the people, your detractors, is that whenever you talk about one thing, they link it to something else. When you talk about high value, you speak that to me, and I think that's very important, because people are really not, they are basing themselves when they have conversation on what they think a word means and not what we're actually talking about. So basically, we could agree on a lot of things, but if you don't have the same, the right definition of the words,
this is all saying,
you're going to be talking about some other things. So when you're talking about high value, but they think about high morals.
Mm-hmm.
When you say
I think it's more than that, though, Preach. You know what it is? Because this is a concept that he's discussing on a macro scale, meaning he's
No. But listen to what he said. You understand? That's exactly what I did. By the way, guys, I haven't watched this video yet. I just saw it up and I thought, I remember, I watched like a minute of this, so I haven't watched this portion of the video. He literally said what I just said. The definition of the word is where the issue's coming from. So, and so what's happening is that we've got a problem because highly valuable conflated with highly desirable causes issues. Because what you're saying indefinitely is that I'm not valuable. Okay, no, people are highly valuable, but the problem is that it's been conflated with highly desirable. When you talk about desire, you talk about attraction. You talk about what makes people want that person. People can cope with that. Yeah. Now, you know, if we're having a conversation about, let's say, looks, I think this is something Samuel has also touched upon as well. I'll keep it 100% real. I always place myself on a scale. I always do. I have a level of realism. I always say this, and we all do it, right? We all do it. Some women won't do this. Some women will not do this, right? I think I remember asking somebody, Idris Elba, is he on your level? Well, if he was in my circle, he would be. I was like, he's not on your level, sis. He's not on your level. He's not on your level. But if you think he's, and what women will say to themselves is, well, if I don't think he can be, then I'm downgrading myself. No, it's an air of realism. That's the whole point. And I think that's where Kevin Samuels also comes in, that's where a part I kind of agree with. The air of realism. Women don't sometimes have an air of realism. Am I saying that mandem don't shoot shots for girls that are way above their look grade? Yes, they do. But they often have something to offer. They can be broke, ugly, and rich. So they know they have something to offer. This is broke ugly doesn't mix very well to try and shoot a shot for a girl that's paying and has got some level of status or power and wealth in society. It won't work. So what men leverage is their finances. So if they're not good looking, they're going to leverage their finances. If you're good looking, you can get away with not having as much finances, right? You can get away with it because women will offset that with your looks. So he's explaining something that is evident, that we make these silent choices. We make these silent judgments when we're trying to choose a partner. And I think that men oftentimes, well, this is very biased and I may be wrong. Ladies, comment down in the comment section as well. I think that a lot of men are probably a bit more realistic in terms of their level. But let me know, ladies, down in the comment section. Do you agree with that? Maybe disagree with that. Let me know downstairs in the comment section. Maybe I'm wrong in that respect. You know what I'm saying?
talking about society at large. But when people think about dating and their relationship, they think about it on a micro scale. They think about their interpersonal experiences. Yeah. So when he says this is what it is for men, they're looking at like, well, my last boyfriend wasn't like that. But it's not about that, if that makes sense.
Well, but it's both actually. It's really both because I feel like the words are different and the definition of the words are off. And after that, they take it personal to their own choices, and they think that because even we are sometimes the victim. People, we have detractors, and they say the same thing that they say to Kevin Samuels, that we don't like black women, that we don't like this and that. But we're not. It's not necessarily our views. Before you join back in, that's what I'm saying. It's really a depiction of what the world is out there. So if you talk about the dating world, if you don't see the dating world like that, that's one thing. But if most people see the dating world like that, and you just know that the dating world is the way it is, that there are still roles. I don't necessarily want that, but that's out there.
Yeah.
Then, well, the thing is,
and that's a good point there as well. Look, as much as when I started like going deeper into attraction, how it works, what it's about, why do women and men choose who they choose, I realized as much as I don't agree with gender roles, there are roles. There are roles. I cannot avoid being a financial provider, and the more finances I have, the more attractive I'm going to become. It's that simple. Now, obviously, if I got a crappy personality, it's going to turn people off. But here's what I realized. When I used to be really fat when I was a younger kid, right? And when I grew up, when I grew up, I put on a nice amount of muscle. You can check my my Instagram and you see it, right? Put on a nice bit of muscle. The amount of girls that the difference in terms of girls I could get was different. I realized straight away that physique itself also a changed physique, a good physique will attract more girls that you really want, right? So there are things that we do to contribute towards that. Listen, my teeth here got a little gap here, and I got a little. It's not all straight. No, I keep 100 trill. Once I get this fixed, this is going to attract even more girls, right? So you have to understand that there are things that are going to make you more attractive and more desirable. And that's just the way the world works. Girl with a back off. There's going to be probably more guys are going to want the back off, or there's a certain body. There's different types of men that want different types of things. Listen, do you know what I'm saying? But like, for instance, if a girl's big and a girl's small, which one's more desirable? Now, someone might say fat shaming. I'm going to keep it 100% true. Nope. Sis, the truth of the matter is, when it comes to attraction, people want people to be in the best shape possible. I have to say it for you. If you're a lady, I want to make it very, very clear. Mandem too, when you're in your best shape, when you're in good shape, people find you attractive. It's that simple. Because we like physical appearance. We like the appearance of beauty. We like it, okay? So shape is important. Yes, if you are bigger, you're going to be less desirable than somebody who's skinnier than you. It's just that simple, okay? It's just that simple.
I talk to an average of 5 women a day for close to 10 months. That's well in excess of 250 conversations, but there are more than that. It's not, see, it's one thing when men are talking about these things, it's easily to dismiss what I say or you say or whatever. When I have a woman sitting here saying, I am 38 years old and I make $80,000 a year, and I ask, could you really date a man making 50,000? The answer comes back, well, I could if he's ambitious, if he wants this. I'm like, no, that's what he's making. That's all he's going to make. He doesn't need to go out and conquer the world. He's a competent man. And the answer comes back when I frame it in such a way, it's like, well, no, I couldn't deal with that. And I'm like,
yeah, I'll be honest with you. I remember watching, if you watch the film Not Easily Broken, one day I'm going to do a whole breakdown on that film. Not Easily Broken speaks about that. You know, the man was competent, was well enough, but she just earned a lot of money and she started looking down at him. And the truth of the matter is that that's why with the video about successful women are arrogant is some truth, because women want to date up. So when they see a man, because they judge the world on those eyes. Not every woman. Let me tell you something. It's not every woman. It's really not every woman. It's not every woman. But a lot of women will judge the world by your financial prowess. I see that, man. Do you know what I mean? I know that if I have more money, it's going to be inviting more gal. You understand? I know that when I have a social media platform, I have a YouTube. As it's growing, more people are drawn towards me. Why? Because I'm more visible. Do you understand? And the status is commanding power, because my status becomes a social proof for women. Because when women want to get near to, that's why the preacher man is so sexy to a lot of women, because he's on a pulpit, he's got a congregation who look at him every single week and listen to his voice. When a woman gets with that man, it's a validation of how important she is, how special she is, and she realizes as they celebrate him, they actually celebrate her. I'm sorry to say, I know it's a bit tough to take.
so basically you have reduced men to either wallets or their sexual organs. That's a problem with in my opinion, that's a problem that modern women have with modern men.
That's true.
I'd say modern women really don't know or understand who men are. So, and I think talking about being objectified, I'm sorry, my show shows that women objectify men on a macro level. Because if you're sitting here saying that I could not date a man who has character, moral ethics, who will be a stepfather to my daughter and be everything great and wonderful, you would have an egotistical problem that every time $1 was spent, 70 cents of it was coming out of your quote unquote pile. That's something that you need to take up with you, because that's not something a man can fix. I mean, we're basically telling men that you have to be superhuman to get just a normal, reasonable outcome with women. And ladies, whether you like it or not, look on your left ring finger. Is there a wedding ring of a man that you value on it? If not, then if not, and you desire to be married or have a relationship of profound emotional significance or whatever, it's not working.
You know, I really resent the idea that settling is somehow a bad thing.
Yeah.
You know, I think it comes into this esoteric idea that people have that like we're all amazing and we're all top notch and we're all great. No, there's hierarchies. The people are
There
better
is
than
hierarchies.
others in
Yeah.
terms of a greatest.
And this is something that I've always realized from a young kid, bruv. I think as a person who analyzes a lot of things, I realized, bruv, when I was in school, especially, I remember in secondary school, I started to realize there's ranks. And once you realize there's ranks and you know your role, you don't cry about things, bro. What? You think when I was younger, I knew those girls that weren't wanting me like that, bruv. I knew that. But I knew my role. And I played the role. You understand? Because the attributes that were needed at that time, I didn't have it. I wasn't the bad boy. I wasn't the fastest kid. I wasn't the sexiest and longest guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was a little bit of a nerd. I was a bit the geek guy. I was a funny guy. I was a fat kid. I was the African fat kid. That was funny. That was my role, blood. Yeah. When you get older and you realize your potential and your power and you realize what you're about, you see this. I'm using this, right? I know this is one of my leafless weapons. When I use this, I know it's one of my leafless weapons. When I speak, I know it's one of my leafless weapons. So I know that in itself draws people to that. Do you know what I'm saying? So now I'm not fighting on those attributable levels, but you have to understand we can't go away from the fact that you got to pay bills. And so therefore my financial situation is going to play a part in my attraction level. Now, when I first see you, that's different. But remember, maintaining it and wanting to have a long-lasting relationship, you are going to consider my financial situation. And in this society, not everyone is equal. We have equity, which is better than equality, right? Because none of us are equal. Because some have 5 talents, some have 2, some have 1. That's what the Bible told us. Is that fair? That's not fair. But it's equitable because you are given what you can handle.
Societal role. And I think when people hear the word settling, it's like, I'm going to accept something that I don't. Boo boo. Everyone's got, and men know this. Men know that they have to settle because we know how these hierarchies work. I knew it right away. It was not fair that my brother could go up to a girl and get her number instantly, and I had to talk to 10 girls before I could get one.
Precisely, bro. This is exactly it. And the reason why women don't understand it is because they don't approach. They get approached. So it's completely different. When you go out there and you get rejected, you now start to realize, okay, I'm getting rejected because of certain factors and certain attributes. You know this from early, a lot of us guys. So we know what roles we can play. So it's really interesting that he said that as well. From early, I knew it. From early, you know what I'm saying? If more women sat down with men, and I'm talking about genuine, safe men who are willing to have a discussion and talk and not be misogynistic and crude and everything's got to be about sex, I think they would learn a lot from us, right? That's why I said I like Kevin Samuel's message. Because a lot of it is true, but his delivery sucks. I'm going to be honest with you. It sucks. It's off point.
It's not fair.
Did you have to settle for being a lieutenant? Because there were only so many generals. That's a hierarchy. See, men understand that there's a hierarchy.
Yep.
We understand that,
That's a point.
that you don't see many 30-year-old generals. It takes time.
That's a point.
What gets people with me is the actual black and white of it, the simplicity of it. One of my gifts is I can take an extremely complex topic and make it really simple to where it's offensive to what it's really doing, honestly. And I focus, especially in a majority Christian nation. You ask a lot of women, are you a Christian? They'll say, I'm a Christian. But then you say, well, are you living your dating and mating life like a Christian?
That's
Because
very true.
I was baptized at 5, raised Christian. And it's like, well, what are we doing here? Because ultimately, women don't want to sound like they're picking a man based upon his money. And I'm like, his resource. I'm like, well, 1,000 years ago, women picked a man based upon his resources, his ability to provide. That was a practical reason. See, we have changed what men used to do. To have a woman, you had to be able to protect her, provide for her, and protect and provide for your offspring. There was no dollar bills. You didn't have a stash of gold in your cabin or your hut or whatever. Now, what men do has been monetized and done by society to where we have really, really narrowed down men to where if he can't do this, I can do bad all by myself. I'd rather be alone. So who's being more shallow, ladies?
No, there's nothing wrong with that.
Because I say
That's not
men
shallow.
want-
If women are saying they can do all bad, they can do better by themselves, I'll never complain about that. You understand? You got to make that choice. That's for you, sis. You know what I'm saying? If you feel like, you know what, the men are not up to scratch, you don't have to settle. But obviously, we got to ask, what do you mean by settling? If, like he said, I think if it's simply because the guy makes £10,000 less or £20,000 less, you might want to ask a question seriously, like, you know, can you get down with somebody like that? If you can't, then maybe you have to look at that and look at your reasoning. Do you know what I mean? That's completely different, though.
women who are fit, feminine, and fabulous. Men want cooperative, submissive. That's what the men say they want. Men want women who are feminine, beautiful, inspirational.
I agree.
FBI. Women want men who are confident, intelligent, assertive. CIA. Is it me being shallow, or is it that more often than not, women are coming back? They say, if he's not this, I can do bad all by myself. I'd rather not. I'd rather have nothing than to run it back, than to settle. Well, think about what you're telling everybody, preach. But you're telling 70 to 80% of men, you're just something to be settled for. I reject that. I'm an advocate for my blue collar brothers. I'm an advocate for my military men. Now, I'm a white collar man, and I've said it before and I say it again. White collar men, ladies, wouldn't be crap without blue collar men. The men who built this country, built this world, get out there, use their back, their muscles, their labor to build the roads, dig the ditches, lay the fiber, lay the pipes, do all the stuff that men like myself do not want to do. But it takes a hell of a lot longer to become somebody like me. It is easier for somebody to go become an electrician, a plumber, a HVAC technician, a roofer, and become their own entrepreneur, their own business, own their own stuff to provide. It's so much harder to do it this way. It just looks better to you because you can go brag to your friends and say, I got a doctor, I got a finance guy, I got a such and so, I got a lawyer, I got this. But if you say, I got a plumber, ugh.
Yeah, it's true.
That plumber could be a multimillionaire, a hell of a lot
true.
faster than these so-called lawyers
It's
with
true.
all this student loan debt.
It's true.
So check yourselves before you get mad at me.
I'm going to move this to something a little bit different. When we talk about hypergamy and we talk about the fact that people are general women.
Guys, let me leave it there. It's gone on a half an hour moment. So if you guys want to see more me kind of react to the rest of this video, again, let me know down below in the comment section. Otherwise, I'm going to leave it at part 1. You guys can watch the video by the link down below in the comments in my description box. But yeah, guys, I think it's a very good conversation to talk about high value versus highly desirable. I think that's a whole video on its own. But make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, click on that bell button for notification of the uploads. Hey, before you call me Kevin Samuels Jr., just know that obviously just because I agree with him does not mean that I agree with everything that he says. I agree with parts of what he says. I'm gonna lie to you. There's some truth in what he says, because when it comes to attraction, there's rules to this game. There's a hierarchy, and I'm saying if you don't know your position, you don't know your role, then you're gonna be asking for stuff that's not in your boundaries or your confinements, and then you find yourself in a sticky position. So guys, make sure you like, share, subscribe, and you click on that bell button for notification of the uploads. Stay hydrated.